Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to the July 17th, 2012 Fellowship of the Geeks live broadcast. He's Les Webster, I'm Thomas Schick, and joining us on Skype is Mike Marlowe.
What's up, gang?
I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody, whoever went out to San Diego Comic-Con, I hope you made it back in one piece. I know you're still trying to recover. I know that takes a couple of days because there's so much stuff that goes on and all that. So, hope everybody's had a good couple of weeks. How are things going with you?
Doing well, thank you.
Mike, how's things with you, man?
Fine and dandy.
Cool. Tonight's topic is something we've kind of discussed off and on a little bit, and we definitely got into it during our meeting last week. And we at one point, more than likely, it was Mike saying, we really need to save this for the show. But we talked about a little bit, but what really brought it up big time was our interview with Steve Niles, which was posted last week. If you've not had a chance to listen to it, you can go back to the website. I'll post the link in the show notes saying go here and you can listen to it. It was a really good interview. Mike, you've had a chance to listen to it, haven't you?
I have indeed.
Okay.
I greatly regret not being able to be present for it.
We would love to have you there to kind of help me out since I'm basically non-existent.
No, I think you did well.
Well, thank God you were there to help me out, man. I do appreciate it.
I'm just here for the beer.
Well, can't help you
Oh
there.
man, there's beer?
Well, it's kind of hard to give you that over Skype, so.
Yeah, fax me some of that beer, will you?
So tonight's topic is basically the philosophy of Marvel, DC versus the philosophy of the other companies, and what I'm talking about is just really their mindset of how they're going about doing what they're doing. And I think Mr. Niles said it perfectly clear. I mean, they are going for a tie-in with Marvel and DC. Everything they got to think of, well, we got to do this because of the movies, the cartoons, the TV shows, lunchboxes, T-shirts, and that kind of stuff. That just seems to be the kind of the attitude. And if anything, after some of the announcements that have come out the last few weeks regarding Marvel's relaunch in October, it seems even more like they're trying to gear the comic book universe closer to the movies,
Rather than vice versa.
right? I have a problem with that. I mean, there was a reason why, you wanted to do movies based on the comics, because the comics were good stories with good art and characters that you cared about. Now DC's, to a lesser extent, is not doing that, but they felt that they needed to do a reboot last year, thinking that it would bring in new readers. Now the sales have been there for the most part. I mean, they slackened off since the initial launch, but they're, from all indications, they're about as good as they were back in 2010. But from what I'm understanding, they're not bringing in the new readers.
Well, like Mr. Niles also said, the movies don't necessarily bring in readers.
That's right.
People will come and want to read the movie adaptation that comes out.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're not worried about the comic book itself.
Yeah.
DC, yeah, is going strong, but you've got to remember they only have 52 titles or thereabouts. They're not flooding like Marvel is.
Well, yeah, because how many titles? Like I think all the X titles, or most of the X titles, are every 2 weeks. Spider-Man is 3 weeks a month. Amazing Spider-Man. And I just can't. You would make an argument saying that if you're putting out that much material, then that the quality is going to suffer.
Which it does to an extent. On both of those gatherings, those two groups,
Yep.
those two companies.
Mm-hmm.
Some is really diluted, watered down, because they want to make sure they can stretch something a little further. DC did it with their Court of Owls recently. Marvel is doing it with Avengers versus X-Men, because they're giving you 2 titles to follow there. DC had 6 titles, I believe, to do their Court of Owls, plus an annual.
More than 6.
Maybe 8.
Around there, because it was basically all the Bat titles with the exception of Batwoman.
Yeah. But they also added All-Star Western,
Yeah.
and they had a Batman annual in there,
Yeah.
which is part of it.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a shame that you've got to stretch something like this and make it adapt to a movie. And I'm sure that's what they're both are shooting for here. The Batman movie comes out this week. I have not seen anything on the shelves that say this is the adaptation. But tomorrow's New Comic Book Day, so it could be there very quickly.
I don't remember seeing it on the list, but
I don't either. But I can see that this would be the time for them to try it.
yeah. Well, to put out as many titles as
Somebody forgot to mute his phone.
huh?
Somebody forgot to mute his phone.
Yeah.
The wonders of live broadcasting.
I'm not an actor, I'm a movie star.
But we've seen with both of them that if they have a movie coming out starring a particular character, that they start flooding the markets with that kind of stuff. And we're spending so much time on them, and we really should start focusing more on the others. I know we're just now starting into this, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on just those two companies. But go ahead, Mike. You were going to say something?
Well, they're what, 70-75% of the market share? I mean, why not? I don't see any reason not to spend a good bit of time on them. I mean, and part of the deal here, and I know, I mean, this, in a sense, this kind of goes back to our Comic-Con episode where we were talking about how greatly expanded the whole scope of the show has become. I mean, it's involving movies and video games and all kinds of other media. I mean, to a certain extent, that's what Marvel and DC seem to be trying to do. And all you have to do is take one quick look at the economics of the situation to figure out why. I mean, they're going to make tens of thousands of dollars on their Batman titles. They're going to make $1 billion easily with this Batman movie. And then on top of that, they're going to throw another $50 million or so in a video game. Why wouldn't they? you know?
I mean, at that point, I understand why they're wanting to do it, because they're wanting to make money, and everybody wants to make money. I understand that. But it just seems like that's their focus instead of putting out good books, quality material. Because quite honestly, some of the stuff I've you know, Mike, you and I have talked about this several times. Since we've kind of started doing this, we really have been struck of how good quality the other publishers are putting out in regards to stories and characters. And personally, I'm reading a lot more of the other publishers than I am Marvel and DC, and this is for the first time in my life that I could ever say that.
Yeah.
That just tells us, I mean, that's how good. Yeah, there's more publishers out there, I understand that, but there's also good stuff out there too.
Well, you know what part of it also is? Not only are there good publishers and good writers and good artists and all of that stuff, all of these great people working on this stuff out there that aren't Marvel and DC, the other thing they're not doing is they're not limiting themselves to a specific genre. One of the things we may not think much about is that Marvel and DC both focus almost exclusively on the superhero genre.
That's exactly what Steve Niles said last week in our interview.
Right. And that was one of the points where I was listening to that going, oh my God, I would love to chime in on this. But I'm listening to a recording, and so I can't. And I'm like straining in my chair here. I was like, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I don't want to knock the superhero genre, but let's be honest, there's only so much you can do story-wise. And if you're gonna ride 70 or 75% of the market share, which is, I don't even remember how much it was, $100 million or something dollars. I mean, you can sort of see where people are going to start to get tired of that eventually, and it's going to how much sales they're going to get out of that is going to cap off at some point, because you're just not appealing to that broad an audience anymore.
That's true.
Whereas a lot of the indies and the other guys are doing science fiction and mystery and thrillers and lots of other stuff. I mean, I'm not even sure how to I mean, let's take, for example, one of the most heavily touted series out there right now, Saga. I mean, what the hell do you classify that as? I mean, technically it's sort of science fiction, but it's also this gripping human interest type story. I mean, you've got these young parents. Hopefully I'm not doing too many spoilers here, because, I mean, there's at least 4 issues of this thing out already. And you're following them around, they're carrying this baby around, and how do you not want to root for the people carrying the baby around? And it's just, you don't see that from Marvel or DC anymore. They can't tell that kind of story anymore.
DC has gotten away from their space operas, which I'm really sad about, because they had some good things going. I don't know if they're going to continue it or not, but they did have Supernatural as part of their lineup, based on the TV series.
I hadn't heard anything. But they are doing the All-Star Western. Yeah, I mean, it's 2 stories. One of them's Jonah, but the other one's a Western too, obviously. They've got GI Combat. Another couple of months we're going to get the Sword of Sorcery. So there's a fantasy book. So they're trying out a little bit, but it's kind of just, we're just going to take a nibble.
I would be curious to see how many issues the first printing of each of those is going to be compared to the Batman titles.
Oh, probably nowhere
Next to
near.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. They're gonna hedge their bets probably.
Well, right,
But
because they've got such a huge chunk of the market share, they don't have to innovate.
Yeah. But I mean, as opposed to Marvel, who whenever they try something and after 4 or 5 issues of it not doing well, and part of the problem is they don't promote some of those books. They say, okay, well, let's just cancel it and let's add another Avengers title or another X-Men title or another Spider-Man title. Because God knows we need,
Another #1.
well, and we're going to have that in October, but,
Yeah.
13 Avenger titles, that's not enough, so let's add a 14th. That kind of thinking.
Let's be fair, how many Batman titles are there?
Yeah, I mean, there's about six or seven. Yeah, it's
Yeah, for the Batman family, yes. Yeah.
Right, Marvel is riding the movie right now. They are riding the crest of the wave of the film, and I mean, you can't blame them really for that.
Well, in fair to Batman, there's always, because Les and I have talked about this before. He's always been in about 5 titles since I've been around.
Yeah.
The names may change a little bit, but it's always been about 5 or 6 titles.
Yeah, but see, they managed to take Batman cross-media a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we don't start with the late 60s TV show, they were doing serials of Batman in the 30s and 40s.
That's right.
That is correct.
So with Batman, they already had the cross-media thing going.
Yeah.
And then it just blew up in 1989, of course.
Well, let's also... Oh, go ahead.
Whereas Marvel's gotten a little bit of a later start on that. Was all I was going to say.
And they have. But let's not just say that the small independents are void of movie deals and such either. Cowboys and Aliens.
But that wasn't really licensed. That was, well, that's kind of unusual, but you've got Dark Horse, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No.
But you've got like Dark Horse that has license.
You've got IDW.
Boom. There's some that have license deals, and that's understandable. I can understand that. Really, the only one of a certain size that doesn't have any licensed characters is Image.
And Image, I mean, the whole concept behind Image was the creator-owned concept.
Right.
So you kind of don't expect a whole lot of licensing going on there.
Well, true. Well, unless, yeah, they won't go after licenses, but their stuff will be licensed. But.
Yes, and I'm sure that if Youngblood is licensed, that the parties involved will make sure they get their part.
Well, I mean, the perfect Walking Dead. I mean, that's the one. I mean, but but it was a comic first. But yeah, and I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're right. That you're covering the same thing I was going to say. That there are groups out there. You brought up Kolchak, and who's doing that? Is that Moonstone. And Moonstone has more than that. They have the Phantom. They have some others also that have been comics, have been comic strips, have been movie serials, have been movies, and I mean they're just. My point was they're not void. They're not excluded in this. They don't rely on their stories to follow a movie or set up a movie, but they do have those licensings. Dark Horse has Clone Wars, and you can buy little Clone War digests, giving you a story. And to me, that's all out there too, because Clone Wars is on every week. And I guess they have 13 to 25 new episodes a year. So there's much part of it as most anybody else.
Yeah, but, Dark Horse has, like, the Clone Wars. Well, they got the Star Wars stuff, and of course they got Buffy, the Buffyverse, that kind of stuff, but, you've also got Massive, which is the new series. Hellboy was originally their stuff, and yeah, they did a movie, but it was originally their book first.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But granted, the smaller presses are not doing stories to shoot for a movie or a TV deal.
No.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because, there's some great stuff out there. I don't know if you've read Massive. It's great. And it's only 2 issues into it, but it is so much fun to read.
Yeah.
And it's one I recommend.
Didn't you do a review of the first issue, Mike?
I remember looking at it. I don't remember if I actually reviewed it.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. But yeah, I did read it, and I thought it was good. Okay.
Is anybody? Well, I know there are small presses out there that are not catering or have no licensing to anybody, and I understand that. But those are the ones that are struggling too. You can't rely on the movies to bolster your company, because like we already said, the movies don't necessarily mean sales.
Right.
But there are some really good small press things out there. Terry Moore's stuff. Right now it's Rachel Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Very fun read. And it's got enough mystery in it that you go, okay, I got through this issue, I want the next issue now.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just want to make sure that even the small presses understand that there's a possibility. I mean, Men in Black was a small press before it became a movie.
Yeah.
Long before.
Well, before it was bought out by Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's their intention. Some of the smaller ones to do things as movies. Although I don't think they rule that completely out.
Oh gosh, no. I'm pretty sure most of them would love to.
Yeah, if anybody was interested, yeah, then they said yeah. But I think I just can't see them getting into it saying, well, I've got this idea, so hopefully I can make it into a movie. I mean, there are some exceptions. You brought up Cowboys and Aliens. The only reason why it was done as a comic, from what I understood, is they couldn't sell the script as a movie.
Right.
So they converted it into a comic book so someone could see, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that might be a good movie. And then turn around and don't do anything near to the comic, and it didn't do as good.
That's true.
Because the book was good.
The book was very good. The movie wasn't.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. I'm not saying what Marvel and DC is doing wrong, but it's kind of discouraging. But I don't blame them, but it just...
Wish it could be done a different way.
Yeah.
I'm like both you and Mike, I want a good story. as I have stated to you before, art is okay, but it doesn't necessarily draw me into the story. I want something that is solid. And isn't one that I'm going to look back in 5 years and go, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
There are so many people that buy stuff now because of the art. That's fine. That's their prerogative. But I want something that will give me a story.
Art is great, and I love art, you know I do. But if I don't care about the characters, why would I keep getting the book?
Right.
There's something not... If art's the only thing that keeps bringing me back, I don't particularly care about story. There's too many good books out there that are well written to be shelling out $3 or $4 a book just because of the art or even the person's attached. Because there's one book that I will be dropping. I love the writer, but I'm not loving the book. So I'm like, I can't keep getting the book because I enjoy the writer, but I'm not enjoying the book. And I'm not going to say the name.
But it makes a difference.
But it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because I mean, everybody has rough spots. Not everybody does everything that's great. But you know, and I hate to do it, but yeah, it's someone that I've defended a lot, that I've enjoyed a lot over the years. But I'm not digging this book right now.
Good.
Right. Not every ball goes out of the park.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm sorry about throwing a sports reference in.
Sports? What's that?
No, you're among sports fans, so you can say that.
Lights out, sports fans. Sorry.
I was looking at one today. I was going through the price guide on some comics today, and I came across a comic that had a royal figure of the ocean as the main character. And it struck me as funny because this person was in the ocean. I'm sorry, I'm getting off. I have to tell this.
Go ahead, it's fine.
This person was in the ocean and being attacked by leeches.
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 Okay.
Which struck me as odd because leeches are freshwater, not saltwater. And of course, I'm sure at the time, if you read this, if you were 12 or 13, didn't bother you at all.
Cool.
You just moved right on. Wow, he defeated the leeches and beat up the bad guy.
Sounds like a Corman film.
It was.
You know, Dad, hey, what's up?
Sorry. Go ahead.
But that was it.
Oh, okay.
That was sorry, little sidebar.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that you and I have talked about this, and we kind of frown upon, and the consensus from what I've seen online and all that is there's a lot of people who are upset about it. Is the whole event, the notion that you have an event.
An annual event, yeah.
Well, not even annual.
No, that's true.
You know, I see a lot of people complaining about it, but just yesterday I looked at the final, basically the final numbers of orders through Diamond for last month. About 3 out of the top 20 titles were not event related.
Really?
Most of them were, most of them were related to Avengers vs. X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got the main title, and then the second title, and then, of course, all the Venture titles and the X-Men titles. And then the other ones were the Night of the Owls. The books that were tied in to the event.
Right. different type of tie-in, but yes.
But it's a different tie-in. I mean, it's not really an event per se, but it's a mini event kind of. It's curtailed into one grouping of books. Well, so is Avengers vs. X-Men. It looks bigger because it's in all the Avengers books, it's in all the X-Men books, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I believe those 3 titles. Well, and there was also another one, but not really an event, but it's a miniseries, Spider-Man. The whole Peter meets Miles Morales. That whole thing. So those 3 events, but if I remember correctly, there was only 3 books: Action Comics, and then Green Lantern, I think. Maybe there was 4. Green Lantern, and then 2 of the Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Mans.
Okay.
Out of the top 20. People complain about the events and all that, but that's what's being ordered, so that's what they're seeing. So if they see that everybody's ordering these books, they're going to say, well, it's obviously selling, so let's keep on doing it.
Absolutely. There's no reason not to keep doing it if they're going to keep selling more stuff. That's why they do it, is to sell more stuff.
Right.
And until it stops working, they're going to keep doing it.
I'm sorry it went on like that, but it was just kind of the sort of thing. It's kind of I guess it's kind of like the snake eating its tail. I mean, it's kind of a vicious cycle. People complain about it, but until someone gets the idea that, hey, this is not working, they're going to assume it's still working.
Yeah. Was Green Arrow on that list?
Not in the top 20.
Okay. Because it's got its new series coming up this fall. Now the question is, will that series bring in readers?
We'll just have to check in the fall and take a look.
We're going to have to take a look, but I do question why they're calling it Arrow and not calling it Green Arrow.
I think to distinguish themselves from Smallville.
All the fans are going, why didn't they hire the actor from Smallville? So I mean, the connection's already being made. So they should have just gone ahead and bite the bullet, and go call it Green Arrow, and then
gotten Justin Hartley to play it.
I don't know about getting Justin Hartley to play it, because he may not have wanted to play it. But at least if it was Green Arrow, doing it in hopes of, if people who watch the show and like the show go into the comic book store, they're not, unless they decide to do a comic book series called Arrow, there's not going to be any kind of connection. There's going to be a disconnect.
Unless in the show, they may call him Green Arrow in the show.
It could be.
And they will have a disclaimer based on the character Green Arrow from DC Comics or something like that. I'm sure that...
Well, yeah, I'm sure they will, but...
I don't think they'll stop at just saying that it's based on characters from DC Comics.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But, you know, you're going to assume that people are actually watching the credits too. Sure. Some do, some don't. So I'm just saying, if you call the show Green Arrow, it removes all doubt.
True.
Now, granted, it kind of goes back against what I was saying earlier, but you know, it's different. If that's different than the Superman movie coming out next year, or the Batman movies we've seen, the last 2 Batman movies being called Dark Knight or Man of Steel. Those nicknames are pretty well known. So you can
probably even trademarked.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they're trademarked. But you go Man of Steel, and you automatically think Superman.
True.
You do Arrow, boy, that can go anywhere.
Right now, people see Hawkeye.
And that is, and quite honestly, you know, you just mentioned it, that I wonder if that's the reason why they're doing it. I mean, I know the character had fans on Smallville. Could Hawkeye, I don't know. That's something I hadn't thought about until you just mentioned that.
Well, I mean, if you just say Arrow, people currently would know Avengers, the movie.
That's the yeah. Were you going to say something, Mike? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Oh, okay.
So there.
No.
Now, coming up, like you said, we have Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
This Friday, of course, we have Dark Knight Rises. What do we have next year as far as comic book related movies? Many, or?
Yes, we'll have Iron Man 3, and they're supposed to start shooting Thor, the next Thor, which is called The Dark World.
Okay. And Cap comes out when?
Cap comes out April 4th, I think, of 2014.
Okay.
And that one's called The Winter Soldier.
Okay. But Iron Man hasn't started shooting, have they?
Yes.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they've been shooting for about a month or so.
Okay. And their main villain is the Mandarin this time.
That was officially announced this weekend at Comic-Con. Ben Kingsley is playing the Mandarin.
Okay. Which makes me happy, because to me that was a character, a villain I knew growing up.
Yeah.
The pantheon of information just finished up Comic-Con. And watching, I don't know if you saw any of it, Mike, but watching G4, they were constantly parading movie people in there. Movie and television.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Some video game stuff too.
Yes,
A little bit I watched.
but I did not see all that many people related just to comic books put up there to talk. That's not normally something they look at anyway.
Well, that doesn't that kind of go back to what was discussed 2 weeks ago regarding the book Comic-Con and business pop culture?
Yeah.
That the focus is going away from the comics to everything else.
Everything else, yeah. And that's quite evident.
It's following the money.
Yeah. When you have people standing in line for hours to get in to see the Twilight.
Oh, the Twilight line started Sunday, and the panel was not until Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm sure if y'all saw in the news that one woman lost her life. If you hadn't, what happened was she was trying to cross the street, thinking that the line that was starting was moving or something like that, and she tripped, and she was run over.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate. But yeah, that's just the focus. Is the getting back to what you were saying. The focus is more to the movies, TV, gaming, and the comic books is just
almost secondary.
It's a bridge, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good term. It's a bridge. Should we be angry at something like the Comic-Con for more or less enabling our topic for tonight, which is, to me, is essentially sellout. You're selling out your stories so you can try to make it into a film or television series. Or am I interpreting this wrong? To me, they're partially to blame.
Yeah.
I don't know that I like the term sellout for this. I mean, let's be realistic. If we had the opportunity to create something, if I was creative, for example, and I'm not, and I could create something that people enjoyed, and there was an opportunity was presented to me to make it available to
A wider audience.
10,000 times more people, yeah, a significantly wider audience. And along the way, I was going to make just a buttload of money doing it. I'm not sure that counts as selling out.
I look at it selling out, Mike, because you're just looking for the dollar. You're not looking for satisfying your, say in this case, your readers. You're not giving them a product that is standalone. You're looking at, you're producing something that you intend on selling to a production company. That's where I get sellout. And I know what you're saying too.
Right, my whole focus there is we're obviously not talking about the creators themselves. That's a separate deal. We're talking about the companies.
Yes.
I mean, primarily, obviously, Marvel and DC.
I agree.
And I'm not the biggest fan of Marvel and DC anyway. I'm not. Like I said earlier, I don't think they're making much of an effort to generate quality work. But in their defense, I mean, for example, we know that Marvel is owned by the Disney company. I actually, off the top of my head, do not know if DC is owned by somebody similar to that.
Warner Brothers.
Okay, so they are. So what you've got is you've got these smaller publishers. Well, they're the two biggest publishers, obviously, but you've got these publishing companies who are owned by these massive conglomerates. In their defense, the only way they're going to survive is if they manage to make a profit. And to be honest and harsh, it is extremely risky to create, I don't want to say interesting material, but new and original material, because that stuff doesn't always sell. So the easy thing to do at that point is to ride the stuff that you know is going to make you some money. For DC, that's Batman. And for Marvel, they've managed to turn Avengers into that, and X-Men. So obviously it's in their best interest to make as much money as they can off of those products. Anything they throw at a smaller or new or more original title or concept, I mean, they're just as likely to, in fact, they're more likely to lose their money. I mean, it's just, that stuff doesn't, it only makes money if it works. And you can't know if it's going to work until it's on the market.
Okay?
So, I mean, I guess my point is, to a certain extent, don't blame them entirely. I mean, I wish it wasn't the case that they control the market share with that. But the reality is that they do, and the reality is that they're probably going to continue to until something dramatic happens, until either one or both of them collapses, or one or a handful of the other independent publishers starts making money hand over fist for some reason with new and original material. God, I love playing devil's advocate.
And you do it so well.
I try, you know.
You know, I kind of see both sides of it too. I don't blame them for doing it, but it's kind of disappointing.
It is really frustrating because, I mean, we're the type of guys that we want to see the new and original and interesting material, but we have to fish through a lot of stuff to get there. Some of us are willing to do that, but the majority of the people spending the money on this stuff are not.
Yeah.
They want their money, they want their product, and they want to go home happy. If only everybody was as cool as us, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, but
That's Mike, it's at the Fellowship of the Geeks.
Bring it on.
But here's the other thing that we kind of briefly touched on earlier. With this kind of mindset, how can they bring in new readers? Because there's going to come a point where some of us just stop reading the books, period.
Or die of old age.
Or we literally die off.
Yeah.
And there's not the generations after us, because you've got the video games, you got the TV shows, you got the internet, you know.
You got phone apps.
You got phone apps. As you know, you've got the card games.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's been your focus for I don't know how long, probably most of your life, of trying to get younger readers to younger people get into reading comics.
Yeah.
And, you know, you give them a comic, you give them a pack of fill-in-the-blank trading card game, what are they more than likely going to do?
And now,
Now,
they will take the cards.
they'll take the cards.
Yeah.
There's more entertainment value in the cards. There's more instantaneous entertainment value in the cards.
Immediate.
Immediate, instant gratification.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those people who complains that young people today have it perfect and their world is wonderful and all of that stuff. I think it's a function of the age group, not a specific generation.
I agree. But like Thomas has noted, I would like to find a way to bring in younger readers. I think it's vitally important, because reading on a phone app doesn't really do much for me.
But there's some people that's all they do.
That's all they do.
That's all they do.
Yeah.
They don't buy a print. They don't try to buy a print copy.
But by purchasing it by a phone app, my understanding is you get it for like a library book. You get it for so long and then it's gone.
That I don't know.
I believe.
I cannot confirm nor deny that.
I was thinking that may have been something that Steve Niles said in his interview with us. That it was like it was a temporary thing.
It may be. I don't remember him saying that right now, but he could have well said that.
But I believe it is. Because otherwise you're going to clog up your computer or your phone or something like that with this information, and you know, you need to get rid of it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go look at your closets, Les. I want to see your stacks and stacks and stacks of physical comic books.
He has a few.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
Some things never change.
Yeah.
It's the same problem. It's just that the online
It's a different
PDF.
storage.
It's a different storage medium.
That is correct.
Same problem.
I have to pay monthly for mine at a large warehouse, so.
Right.
So,
You told me, didn't you?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
You put me in my place.
That's right.
Excuse me. Glad we solved this problem. Don't you?
This is like watching an episode of Ghost Hunters, and nothing is resolved at the end. By gum.
At least
Just
we
don't
didn't.
cross the streams.
That's right.
At least we didn't. We hadn't sold out and said it's not that it's not that it's haunted.
No.
God, that took me forever to get out. That's my problem.
Hey, and you know, if anybody at Marvel or DC wants to come give us a lot of money to completely sell out and sing the praises of Marvel and or DC at any point in time, just let us know.
Good point.
We are not shutting off any avenues of opportunity there.
You gonna wait for that email?
Oh yeah, I ain't sleeping tonight until that email shows up. If I ain't sleeping tonight, it ain't got nothing to do with that, I assure you.
Do you do that with your Groucho voice?
If I had one, I would.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about this before we start trying to wrap up for tonight?
Nothing here.
I think we pretty much solved nothing, but we kind of figured that going in. But we said our piece.
Yeah.
Anything, Mike?
No, not other than the usual chilling of the social media stuff and encouraging communication.
Yep, that's where I was going to next.
Segway.
Segway. I just want to remind everybody who, if you're watching live or watching this replay, please come talk to us. We have the forum up and going on the website. I'll post news items. If there's anything you care to comment about, please do. If there's any kind of topic that you want to start up, please feel free. We check it to see if there might be some interesting discussions going on and we want to be a part of. Of course, as always, we're on Facebook. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Fellowship of Geeks. Twitter, we're at Fellowship Geeks, and then Google Plus. It's a big long number. Just look for Fellowship of Geeks. They won't go over to doing the names. I wish they would. It would be so much simpler.
Call us out too.
Yes, if you have any ideas that you want us to talk about, anything we've said tonight or previous shows that you want to call us out on or question us or pat us on the back for something brilliant that we said, email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Please, we're always wanting input, good, bad, or indifferent. So please let us know. And
I would say keep it clean, but I don't care if you keep it clean. Just keep it civil.
Okay.
Okay. One final thing before we sign off tonight. We're looking at 2 weeks from Saturday, August 4th.
August 4th.
August 4th. StripCon Webcomics Expo at the South Fork Hotel in Plano, Texas. We will have a table there. We are planning to at least do video interviews. We may actually do a live webcast for a bit, just kind of show the sights and sound of the con. But if you live locally, it's from 10 to 5. Admission is $6 or $7, which is not bad because you're only less than $1 an hour. That's a pretty good price.
Yeah.
There's panels. There's going to be illustrators, and there's people who are local doing web comics. There's usually a costume contest. I don't know if the Costume Crusaders will be there. I hope they will be, because we hadn't seen them in the last couple of cons. They've been missed. I do know that Perkela will be there, or she's planning to. So we're planning to have her on, at least to do a video interview, if we're not have her on live, which if we have her on live, that's going to be fun. That'll be fun. Either way, it's going to be fun, but if it's live, then...
Yeah.
Oh!
Katie barred the door.
So we're looking forward to that. It should be a lot of fun. Like I said, if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, come on. It's South Fork Hotel. It's off of Central and...
It's north of 15th Street on the east side of Central.
Okay. Just go to stripcon.net, and there's all the particular information regarding that convention. You can see who else is going to be there and all. Looking forward to it. We had fun there last time. The panels were very interesting. Don't know if we'll be involved this year. We may not. And if not, that's fine. We'll be having fun in doing everything else.
We'll just take it in.
Yeah, we'll just enjoy it. So, until 2 weeks from now, which will be the 31st. Wow. We're going to be we're almost through July. Almost said June. God.
That too. Somewhere in the world, it's still June.
It is June 27th.
That's right.
So until 2 weeks from tonight, y'all take care. Please, let us know. Just contact us. Let us know anything. We definitely want the input. We love the input.
Tell us stuff.
Tell us stuff, because we want to know. I don't know about I'm not going to talk for other websites. I don't know if they want the input or not, but we definitely do.
Yes.
We appreciate the input. So until then, y'all take care. Good night, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Later.